Welcome back, guys. I hope all of you had lunch. Without any further ado, let's move on to our last session of the day. Himanshu is a final year CSE student and has been developing full stack cross platform mobile apps for 2 years now. He also writes programming blogs at Medium about full stack and open source. Today, he will be conducting a session on Flutter. Let's build our first app. In this session with Flutter, you can create your very first app and run it on any platform of your choice, iOS or Android. Over to you, Himanshu.
So good afternoon, guys. Hope you all guys are doing well. So I'm gonna get started with the session. Hope the screen is visible now. Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Uh,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So so Flutter beyond Hello World. So in this session, we will be discussing about what really Flutter is, how it is used, when it is used, and why it is better than the rest of the frameworks that are out there. So let's get started. So there are various frameworks that are used for mobile development these days. One approach will be your native approach. You will use Java or Kotlin for Android development, or Swift or C Sharp for iOS development. So it's the best method to make apps right now. You have got Iconic, you have got React Native, you have got App Accelerator. Iconic uses JavaScript to make cross-platform mobile apps, but it is not really popular right now. React Native is one of the most popular frameworks right now, which uses JavaScript. Uh, and App Accelerator is also a framework that is used in cross-platform mobile app development. So what is different with Flutter than these frameworks is all these frameworks use OEM widgets. So what is basically OEM widgets? So OEM widgets are the widgets that are inspired by the native mobile apps. Native mobile apps are the apps which are designed using Java, Kotlin for Android, or Swift for iOS. So what React Native or App Accelerator does is it uses OEM widgets which are inspired from the native platforms, uh, which is good, but it is not that highly customizable as it is compared to manual widgets. So in this case, what Flutter does is uh, it it is implemented using its own widgets. Flutter has its own widgets. So what it does it is highly customizable. You can customize it to the maximum extent. So what really are widgets? Widgets are anything like container, text box, beat, app bar, everything in Flutter is about widgets. Everything is built using widgets. Uh, there are Flutter widgets, then there are platform channels. So what are platform channels? So suppose you wanna access a feature that is not in Flutter, but in native platforms like Kotlin and Java, and you wanna access that feature into your mobile app. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna call a platform channel through your Flutter app to the native language like Kotlin, and you can then access all those features from Kotlin or Java app to your own Flutter app. But right now, all the basic features that are available in Kotlin are available in Flutter now. So it's not that highly used, but yeah, it is an option. So how Flutter runs is it convert your Dart code into native ARM binary code. So which is really faster than other cross-platform mobile app development frameworks like React Native, because React Native uses JavaScript bridge, which is used to convert your JavaScript code to the native code like Kotlin. So that takes time. So what Flutter does is it directly converts Dart code to native ARM binary code, which is used in native to convert and interpret your app as a native app. So what makes Flutter unique? First of all, as I mentioned, it compiles to native code directly. It has no reliance on OEM widgets, which are used by native apps and React Native App Accelerator. Then no bridge is needed to convert your Dart code to native code, and Dart is used to perform all your operations and make all your apps on Flutter. and Dart is not a markup language, uh, so you can build beautiful UI with Flutter, and it's pretty easy. So in this session, we will be creating one basic app, to get you guys familiar with how we can go about this framework, how we can work with this framework and all. So one of the major factor in app development field is its UI. UI really catches the eye of the customer. So one thing you are gonna make sure is that you're gonna build beautiful UIs, and that's gonna help your user base. So for beautiful UIs, of course, you will need beautiful animations. So Flutter has it all. You can build beautiful animations with Flutter. Some of the inbuilt libraries in Flutter animations are Tween, Hero, Sliver, Transform. These are one most popular animations built-in libraries that are present in Flutter. Plus, there are hundreds of other animations libraries which are made by other developers, not by Flutter, and it is user package, which we will be discussing later in the later part of the video. And Flutter is really fast as compared to React Native, because it is GPU accelerated. It runs on 60 frames per second. And one of the other reasons why it is fast is, as I discussed, it compiles directly to the native machine code. It does not use a JavaScript or any other bridge. So that really helps in the speed development. uh, it is highly productive because it is pretty easy to use, pretty easy to implement. Testing is also easy. There are various types of testing you can do in Flutter. When you make an app, make sure you test it first before deployment, because you don't want to face issues after you deploy it on Play Store or maybe Apple Store. So there are different types of testing, like widget testing, integration testing. So we won't be discussing testing in this workshop, but yeah, it is a concept and you should know about it. And you can use single code base for both iOS and Android apps. It increases your productivity. You don't need to hire two different teams for your application development. Suppose you make a startup and you want to make an app, so you don't want to hire a different team for Android and a different team for iOS. You can simply hire a Flutter developer, and he will develop a single code base that can be run on both iOS and Android. So Flutter is pretty much used for every tech right now, like for Android apps, iOS apps, web apps, desktop apps. Like 1 month back, Flutter launched its Windows support. You can now make Windows app with Flutter, which is still in beta version, and the web part is also in beta version. It's not highly used right now, but in more in the next 1 year it will be used. So Flutter is also used for making servers, like you do with Node.js, Laravel, PHP, etc. Mm. So coming to Flutter architecture, so Flutter framework is compiled with various parts, like uh, it gives you themes, it gives you widgets, it renders all your widgets on your screen, it gives you animation, it gives you gestures and all, like everything you need for a mobile app. And then all this framework part runs on an engine which is made in C++, which is pretty fast too. We are not going to dive deeper into the engine, as it's so much of theory. So let's dive into the Flutter web architecture. So for making websites, the framework part works the same, but for the engine part, you have browser, because websites runs in browsers. So you have JavaScript engine, as it is runs on browser too, then of course you need JavaScript. So all this part is used for making Flutter web apps, like websites. And then Dart. What is Dart? So Dart is a client optimized language for fast apps on any platform by Google. It is made by Google. It is used to make web apps, desktop apps, mobile apps, and servers. So it has many libraries present in the language. A package manager website is there, from where you can download packages and use in your Flutter apps, just like you use npm for Node.js. Similarly, there is Dart virtual machine. You can compile your Dart code to JavaScript too, like in websites. So coming to how Flutter really works. So Flutter is everything about widgets. everything you implement in a Flutter app is a widget. So a widget can be described into can be classified into two parts. One will be stateless widget and another will be stateful widget. These two are the main core concepts of Flutter. You will be working on your whole Flutter app with these two kind of widgets, stateless widget and stateful widget. So a stateless widget is basically a class or maybe a widget that in where there is no state on the screen. Like it's a final screen where you can't change something on the screen, but a stateful widget has a state. Suppose you press a button on a screen and it increments a number on that is written on the screen, so that means the screen state has been changed. So that comes under stateful widget. So that's the basic and the core difference between stateless widget and stateful widget. Now, coming to stateless and stateful widget, as I described, stateless is just a widget, stateful has a state plus a widget. So stateless widget is an immutable widget and gets rendered only once or when the parent widget changes its configuration. And stateful widget is a mutable widget which can be changed, which has its own state, and the state can be handled using various state management techniques. There are tons of state management techniques in Flutter. State management is one of the most key topics you will learn in Flutter, because it is used for like everywhere in the app you have to use state management techniques. So the default state management technique that Flutter has given us, it's set state method. Set state method is good for small scale apps, but in case you want to build high level production ready large scale apps, you gotta use another uh, cross platform like this state management techniques that I will discuss in the further part of the workshop. So Flutter widgets, here is the basic boilerplate of what a Flutter widget look like. So uh, this this is the name of the class, which will be the name of the widget, which extends stateless widget. So what it really means is this name of the widget is my widget and it is a stateless widget. So this is the proper format of how a stateless widget is defined. And this widget build method is used to call the widget tree that is gonna be below its implementation. Like after you call this widget build, you're gonna render the widget tree that is present here. So suppose there is a container, and inside the container you have a text box. Inside the text box you have a text. So this is a widget tree
Excuse
that.
me, Himanshu. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Can you minimize this Teams, this one?
And the what one?
Yeah, this small screen which you can see on Teams. This one.
Wait.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, can you minimize it? Yeah.
Yeah. So wait. Mm, is it gone now?
No. Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, sure. So that's what about stateless widget. So coming to stateful widget, which has a state. So this is the boilerplate for the stateful widget. This is the name of your widget. This is the state of your widget. It's just a boilerplate code. So this you are gonna use this code everywhere in your app. Uh, this is the state that we created using this widget, and after that we will be rendering our widget tree here, just like we did in stateless. Like for container there is a text box, inside the text box you have a text, like that only. Let me clear it. Yeah. So yeah, that was about stateless and stateful widget. Then coming to how you can implement constructor in the widgets. So suppose you wanna navigate from one screen to another, like from login screen to your dashboard. So you wanna pass the login ID that the user has entered to the dashboard, and you wanna show it there. So in the dashboard widget, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create a dashboard here, and then inside the dashboard you're gonna create a final or a string ID, and then you're gonna call a constructor to this id dashboard this dot id. Then what it's gonna do is it's gonna call a constructor. So when you navigate to this screen, you will pass the id in the bracket just like this from the login screen. So the final ID, this ID will get the login ID that the user has entered, and you can then use it underneath the widget tree that is here. So that was about stateless widget. Let me grab the mouse. Then it's all about the constructors, stateful widgets. Yeah, so this is the major flowchart how it really works. So in stateless widget, you have just a constructor function that can take any parameter. You can either initialize a constructor or not. It's your choice. If you wanna get something from another screen, you have to initialize a constructor. If you don't have to get something from another screen, you don't have to initialize a constructor. It's your choice. And in stateful widget, you have constructor function. uh, just it's same for the as like in stateless. You don't have to initialize a constructor function if you don't want to pass a parameter from another screen. Then in stateful widget we have various functions like init state. What init state does is whenever you render your widget tree in the screen, this so at the top this method is called init state. So whatever will be inside the init state function will be executed first every time you render the screen, the widget tree on your app. Build method calls your widget tree. Set state, as I talked about, is a state management technique so that you can change the state of the screen. Did update widget will update your widget for any parameters just like set state. And then same for the build method. And dispose will run at the end of your widget tree implementation. That will dispose your animations or certain widget. It's not compulsory to initialize the dispose method, but for efficient programming and efficient app development you have to do it sometimes. So widgets 101. So this is how a widget tree looks like. Every parent widget has a state in case of stateful widgets, and it goes like this. Certain widgets are derived from the parent widget, then the child widget become a parent widget. So that's how it goes. This is the flow. And now coming to inherited widget. So what really is an inherited widget is, as you know, as you all guys know about what inheritance is, how it really works. So it is just as same as you learned in your previous classes about inheritance. So inherited widget grab the properties of another widget and you can use those properties in your own widget. So suppose you define two widgets like class A widget A, and then you initialize widget B extends widget A. Then all the properties of widget A will be derived in widget B. So that's how inherited widget works, just like the basic flowchart. So coming to the important state management techniques. So there are five. These are five most important state management techniques. You have to just learn one of these. I have been using provider for a while now, so I prefer provider over all of these. This Redux and block are derived from React Native, and it works pretty well too. But I have been more familiar with provider, so I have been using provider, and it's pretty good too. Uh, so what provider does is, instead of calling set state method every time you uh, call for a change in your widget tree, you're gonna create another provider widget that you're gonna route in your main function in the in your app. And then every time a data changes inside your app, the provider will be called and the change will be noticed, so that change can be rendered on your screen. It won't be much clear with the theory part. It will be explained to you in the further sections, so don't worry about it. Scope model in other state management technique. So This is the basic set state method that we call, and this is the scope model. So what scope model does is, it is also a state management technique which can make it pretty easy to access state of a screen from anywhere. So it really helps in the state management, and it makes it pretty easy. So now comes block. It is also a state management technique. Then comes Redux. Uh, Redux I don't know about. So if you want to learn Redux, then you can learn it. Mobex is also a state management technique. It is also pretty highly used. And then we will discuss the two most important part in the Flutter development. One of them is future. So what really a future is, suppose you are fetching data uh, from an API, and it takes time to fetch data from the API, as it is fetching from the internet, right? So it depends on your connection. So it's gonna take some time in millisecond or microsecond, but yeah, it will take time to access the data. So what really future does is, uh, it will give you that time, like until, suppose like see in this function, like future void fetch user order. So what it really does is, the return type of this fetch user order function is future. So what it means is, it is always gonna return a future, like a delayed return, like as you can see here, the return future dot delayed duration of 2 seconds. So what this function is gonna do is, after 2 seconds it's gonna print a large latte. So that's what future does. It returns, but with some delay, and in the main function here we calling the function. So what it really does is, as it is given a delay of 2 seconds, the print function will run first, this print function. So what it really does is, fetching user order is printed here, and after 2 seconds large latte is print here. So that's how it works, that's how future works. It just gives you that delay period that you want to call data from an API, or you can use a custom timer and all. That's how it works. So that's about futures. Another one is streams. So one of the downside of future is, you can't always access changing data. Like in case of COVID cases, suppose you wanna call the number of COVID cases from an API. So what you're gonna do is, you're gonna call an HTTP request from the API to return you the number of cases, but the COVID cases are always changing. So what future does is, it's not gonna update the changing values on your app. It will just fetch the initial value and put it there. So of course, when you will restart the app, the change value will be there, but it's not real time. The future won't fetch you real time data, real time changing data. So then there comes streams. Streams really what it does is, it's gonna fetch you changing data, like every second number of COVID cases changes, right? So it will fetch you that number, like every second in your app UI, the number will change. That's how useful streams are. So in this example, there is a stream function that we declared, some stream, and that's going to return a future. And here is a count stream function that's going to return a stream. So what really this count stream function does is, for a loop from 1 to certain number, it is yielding I. So what really yield means? So yield is nothing but return, but it doesn't terminate the function. What return does is, it terminates the function and returns the value, but yield does not terminate the function and returns the value, and it returns the stream. So what it does is, it is returning the changing value I, because of for loop, it is changing every second. So in the future function, in some stream, we are declaring the sum as 0, and this await is used. Await async is used to implement futures. Like await is some, like waiting for something, and async is used to implement that asynchronous process. So here we are awaiting for the value that we are getting in the stream, and then we are incrementing the sum from the value, and then we are returning the sum. So here var stream is equal to count stream 10. So it is yielding a change value every time, and in the sum part we are awaiting, because you are not getting the value at that instant, you are getting it one by one. So it's awaiting the sum stream and finally adding them all and returning it. So finally you got the sum. So that's about how streams are used. Future and streams are highly and widely used in the Flutter app. It is one of the most basic and core topics of Flutter. So you're gonna use this a lot. So let's get to the directory structure. How you gonna go about your Flutter apps? So for a clean architecture, you have to use different folders. Like everything we code is gonna be in this lib folder. So change the color. This lib folder. Yeah, this lib folder, and there are gonna be many folders inside it that you are gonna make. Not It's not gonna be in the default boilerplate, but you are gonna make the folders like screens, utils, widgets. This is the main function that is gonna be the core of your Flutter app. So that's how you're gonna go about making a Flutter app. Another important part of a Flutter directory is pubspec.yaml. So every single packages that you use is gonna be implemented in this pubspec.yaml. So suppose you wanna use a state management package that I talked about, maybe Redux or MobX. So you go to the package site, uh, copy that package parameter and paste it here in pubspec.yaml and click on save. So now you can use that state management package in your app and use that for various state management techniques. So that was for the directory structure. So, so in this workshop, we will be making this app. It's the startup name generator. It's an infinite list of various startup names that we are gonna generate automatically using a package named English words, which is default, and it's originally implemented in Dart. So we'll develop this app. What we will learn when we are developing this app, we will learn how to write a Flutter app that looks natural on iOS, Android, and the web part we are not discussing here. It's just iOS and Android. We will learn about basic structure of Flutter app. We will find and use various packages and how you can find different packages. We will be familiar with hot reload for quicker development cycle. We will get to know what stateful widget is. We can get to know various lists, how to use list, how to use list view and all. So that was about the slides. Let's get to development part now. Before that, let me walk you guys through the installation part. I'm not gonna be doing a hands-on session on installation, and it's gonna take an hour and so. So I'm just gonna walk you guys through how it is done. So go to the Flutter website, click on get started, uh, and click on the platform that are using, maybe Windows, Mac OS, Linux. uh, this is the basic system requirements. Operating system Windows, disk space 1.32 GB. You should know Git. It's not compulsory, but yeah, for saving your apps on GitHub, you should know Git. Then what you have to do in first step is you have to install the Flutter Windows .zip. So after installing downloading this zip file, you have to extract it in your core drive, maybe C drive, that's default for everyone. So after this step, what you have to do is you have to open the extracted folder, go to the bin folder, and then copy the location of the bin folder. And what you have to do is here in Windows, go back to Windows, simply search edit your environment, change your environment variables, change your environment, where is that, edit, mm, edit edit your system environment variables. There you can go and simply paste that location so that your Flutter SDK can be used from your terminal, so that you can configure Flutter from the terminal itself. So uh, after doing that, you will have to install the Android Studio, because you will I prefer Visual Studio Code for Android development, but Android Studio is just a part of installing the Android SDK that Flutter will be using. So simply download the Android Studio. It's like 500 or 600 MB. You can download it, and it will it's default, and it will do all the installation of Android SDK, your Gradle files, all your installation will be done by Android Studio only. So you just have to install this Android Studio, and you can set up an emulator there to run your Flutter app on. And that's simple. Just go through it, go through these docs once, and then you will understand. So Flutter docs is highly and well maintained, and it's the best docs you will ever see from any framework. And also Flutter is an open source framework, so you can also contribute to Flutter through any packages you make, through any changes you make. Let me walk you guys through the Flutter repository. Flutter. So yeah, it has got 106K stars. It's highly popular now. So you can see now 746 contributors are here. So you can also be a contributor. You just have to go through the contribution guidelines, change anything that is viable and legit, and then you can read the docs. It's highly very good. Uh, yeah, you can use it, and then that's all about the docs. Let me walk you guys through the widgets. Yeah, user interface, introduction to widgets. Every widget that is present in Flutter, you can find it here. From text widget to basic widgets like text, rows and columns, stack. Stack is used when you want to put something on another widget, like layering of two widgets or three widgets or any number of widgets. And then there is container, then there is cards. This is the basic boilerplate. uh, then you have got building, under building layout, pages layouts, like this is a bottom bar you can make. Then this is a basic widget, how a basic widget tree will look like, based on what your requirements are: a container, row, column. And then this is basically a text widget, text hello world. So it will print text, it will print hello world in your app. So suppose you wanna insert an image, so what you have to do is download that image into your computer, and simply paste that image in the Flutter directory. There is a part where you can save the image. I will show you guys that later. Then you can put icons and all. It's a very good documentation, you can see it later on. So let's get to the development part. We will be developing a Flutter app that is will basically generate infinite number of startup names for you guys. So for creating a Flutter app, after all that installation setup, what you have to do is shoot up your CMD command prompt, type Flutter. Wait for a second. Yeah, it will give you all the commands that you can use to configure your Flutter. To create a project, what you can do is go to your favorite directory, or where you create your apps. Go simply, like I create my apps in E drive, so I went to E drive, and then cd docs, and inside docs I will make a Flutter directory. So Flutter create directory name, so let's name it demo app. It will create a directory for you. So now you have a project name demo app, where we'll make our Android and iOS apps. You cannot develop your iOS app in Windows. It can be only be done in Mac OS. So we are going to be creating only the Android app for now. So in case you want to see the status of how the Flutter is running on a system, you can simply run Flutter doctor. So it will list all the basic configuration that are present in your system right now. Just wait for a second. It is checking all the configurations. Like if you get all the ticks, you are well and good. You can go and start a development. Then let's go and start our development. Shoot up your Visual Studio Code, and then open the folder that you created. Open folder. Then in docs, I have created demo app. So select that folder and open it. Yeah. So initially you will get a default boilerplate for your app that is present in main.dart. So this is your default boilerplate for your app. It's a basic increment app that I will show you right now. It is highly commented, so you can read the comments and all to get the gist of it. So let's run the app. Let me shoot up the terminal. And right now, let's run the app. Wait for a second, it is analyzing here. It will take a couple of minutes. It's taking some time. Yeah, till then we can go through this whole boilerplate. So this is your main function where you will run the your main app. So whatever below is the name of your app, you can just run app and create a my app. Just suppose the root widget is my app, so you're gonna put it there inside run app function, so it will run it for you. So it is a stateless widget because you are not gonna run change the state of the screen for now, and then you can run it's this line is mandatory for everyone. Like widget build, it will help you build your widget tree. And what really build context is, so context is a type of build context which can be used to refer the position of your widget tree in your app. Like suppose you will be using another widget here, like builder widget. It is used to render change in your app. So yeah, in builder there's parameter called context, so you will provide this context so that the widget tree here, the material app, can know where the builder widget is inside that widget tree. Is it above a specific container? It is below a specific container. So that's how context helps in. So we are using a material app. Material app is basically the wrap around of your app. I will show you in a second. It's analyzed now. So let's run this app. Simply go to run and run without debugging. I'm using a Windows embedded debugger for running my apps. You won't be using it. You will be using an emulator that you will be setting it on Android Studio. Uh, you can later set your Windows debugger for basic apps. It won't run on like complex apps which will using third-party packages. It will be used. It will run for only for few other packages. So I just use it for UI changes and all. So it's running now. It will take some time. It always takes some time initially. So yeah, take a couple of minutes. This is the basic boilerplate you will be getting every time you will make a new Flutter project. So you can just remove it and make your own. So I'm just gonna show you how this basic boilerplate will work. Then we will be go about how you can make our own app, that random startup name generator. So it's launching now. So it's a Windows emulator, so its size is like size of a Windows app. So this is the basic boilerplate that you will be getting every time you will run a default boilerplate. So this is the app bar, this blue circle, the blue rectangle. This whole blue section is a app bar. This is the title of your app bar. Then this is a stateful widget that is implemented here. Wait, I'll show you. Here, my home page, which is the home of the stateless widget, which is our root project, my app. So go there, and as you can see, they have a floating action button here. It's a kind of button that is like in the any corner of your app. So when you press this, you can see that the integer in the middle of the page increments 1 2 3 4 5 6. So what is happening is something is changing on a screen, like a single page screen. So what how really you are getting this change in your app? You are getting it using a stateful widget, because the screen has a state and it's changing on every button press. Like, so whenever I press a button, state changes, the screen state changes, and it increments the integer value, as you can see. So this is a basic Flutter app that you will get every time you will build your own new project. So let's go walk through this once. This is the my app. This is the root widget that we'll be using. Then return this material app. So this whole page is a material app. This including this app bar, this button, all this comes under material app, and material app comes under this import material dot, which is automatically imported library in your Flutter app. Then comes theme data. You can set a particular theme in your root widget that can be used in every screen of your app. Like, this is for the first screen only, but when you set a theme for your root widget, you can use it in any number of screens, in whatever screen you want. And this is the home page of your root widget, which is my home page. So this is my home page, and we have defined my home page here. It is taking a constructor. The key is also used, but there is no use of key for this project right now. You're gonna learn it later in the later part of your Flutter career. So my homepage is called, and it is given a title, Flutter demo homepage. So it is taking a constructor this dot title, and then it is using that title in the project too. Like here, widget dot title. You can access a constructor using a widget method, like widget and dot constructor name, like this. So what really happening is, you created a stateful widget, you given a constructor, it is a string constructor. So after you create a stateful widget, till here it's all basic implementation that you have to do every time. And then we are defining a counter which is 0 right now, and then we are defining a function, increment counter, so that we can increment the number by 1 every time we press the button. So this function is called every time we press the button. So what really this function is doing? So it is changing the state. You can see the set state function here, which is used. It is incrementing the counter every time set state is called. So what set state does is, every time a set state is called, this whole page will be rebuilded again. So this time it will be rebuilded with a counter with a value 1 more than the previous value. So it then increments the counter value and shows it on the screen. So here is the basic widget tree. So scaffold is like the from here to here. Scaffold is a must in your app. If you wanna use the inbuilt app bar, if you wanna make a custom app bar, then you don't need to use scaffold. So here in scaffold you have different parameters. You can look for parameters by just hovering your cursor over the widget name. Then you can see there are different parameters: icon, theme, data, color, background color, bottom, elevation, and all. So I've used app bar here, which defines this blue app bar. And then you can give a title to text. It is also widget, text widget, and it is given a widget.title, which is a constructor that we got from uh, here, my homepage title. And after that, we have the body of the scaffold. The body of the scaffold is center, which places the widget, places the center child in the center. So center is a widget which places its child in the center of the screen, like in the perfect center of your mobile app screen. So it places a column column of widget, two widgets, text. Both are text widgets. One is a text, you have pushed the button this many times, and another is the counter value, and it's a theme style that you will get to know in the later part. uh, then we have defined a floating action button that we are using here. So it is basically a column of widgets. Column, what really a column is, it will like, let me draw it for you. So this is like a column: one widget, two widget, three widget, four widget. It's like a list of widgets. So that's what column is. So it's putting two text widgets in the column. Those are this, and this. And then we are giving a floating action button, and then we are incrementing, calling the increment counter function every time we press the button. We are calling this function increment counter, which is changing the state of the screen using the new count value. So that's it for the boilerplate app that we just saw. So let's make our own app now. Just close this and remove this uh, whole. So you get an error because the homepage is missing now. So just remove this. So under lib, you will create another file under lib. Just remember that everything that you implement in the Flutter app must be under lib, this lib folder. So create a new page called random words dot. It must end with a dot extension. Then we can initialize a widget here. So what we are doing is we are creating infinite number of new startup name. So it must be a stateful widget, because we are we keep on generating new names and pushing them to the screen. So the screen state is changing every time. So what we have to do is we have to create a stateful widget here. Just simply type st and you will get various options, like, so click on stateful widget, then name your widget. It should be random words on any word or any name of your choice, random words. Then you see a red dash over there, which simply implies an error. So just hover over it and see a quick fix, and then you can simply import this material. It's needed everywhere if you're using stateful widget, stateless widget, scaffold, material app. So this import is highly needed. So you have to import it. So you get this normal boilerplate every time you create a stateful widget or a stateless widget. So what we are going to do now is in main dot we are giving now home to the widget just that we built, random words. And yeah, we don't have to give a constructor because it's not needed right now. So let's build. So main dot part is over now. Let's just build our app now. So let's get started. What we are doing first is we are returning a list now. We will be returning a list view. We will returning a list view. So let's do it now. Return. Just remove this container. We will returning a list view. So first do a scaffold. Scaffold is necessary as we have to use the inbuilt app bar that we are implementing. So go with app bar, then app bar. App bar, there are various parameters in app bar that you can use, like list of widgets, save, and different parameters. We are gonna give it a title. Title is uh, text. Title is always gonna be a text, so we are using a text widget here. Text, and then we have a name is startup name generator, which is gonna be printed at the app bar. So after app bar, just put a semicolon here because it's giving an error. So app bar is defined. So after app bar, we have to give our body. But we don't have a body yet made right now. So let's create a body. So for creating a body, we will be going with let's create a function that will use create some random startup names for us. So for that we will be using a package named English words. So let me use that package, English words Flutter. So you can see here it's a website pub.dev. Here you can find every package that you wanna use. So just hover over it, the English words 3.1.5, it's a package version name, and you can read the documentation here how you can use it. And for installing this package in your Flutter app, just copy this English words version name from the installing tab and go in your Flutter app and just paste it here under dependencies. So every package you want to use, you have to paste it under dependencies, and keep in mind that alignment is very important here, so you don't want to mess up with the alignment. So just save it now, Control S, and you can see it's saving the package. So now and package is saved now. Just go here right now, and now let's implement the random name generator. So we create a array first. Let's keep suggestions and random name suggestions. So it's basically a type of word pair. What is basically is a word pair? Word pair is like two words combined. So let's create an empty array first, which array we'll be using to store the random names. Then create a let's create a font type which we're using for every other name. So for every name we are using the same font and font setting. So let's create a font. Let's name it bigger font, that is equal to text style. So text style, you can use text style to uh, configure your text inside the text box. So let's give it a size of 18.0. Sorry, it's done now. So let's we have the array now and we have the font size now. So let's create a function that will generate us a list. So we are going to generate a list. So let's give a function which a widget return type, which is gonna return a list, as everything in the Flutter is a widget. So a list is also a widget. So let's create a function widget, build suggestions, and then then return a this function will return a list view. So in order to return a list view, you have to build it first. So list view dot builder will build it for you. Um, then there are various parameters around here. In list view, you can just simply hover over the widget and see the parameters you can use. So we're gonna use a padding. Padding is basically, let's write it first, then I will explain it to you. Let me set dot all, then give it the value of 16 maybe. So padding, what it's gonna do is, let me draw it. Suppose there is a container widget. So what padding does is, if you give it a add inserts dot all 16, then it's gonna use a spacing of 16 all around it. Like then this length will be 16, this length will be 16, this length will be 16, this length will be 16. So it gives a spacing all around that widget. So that's what padding does. Then To implement the list, let's build an item for let's build items for the list. So for that we will use an item builder. Item builder will take two parameters, the context that I talked about to get the position of the list in the widget tree, context and an incrementer which will be used to increment. Then let me hmm. Then it takes a context and an incrementer which I value is initially at 0. So let's check now. If I dot is odd, then what we'll do is we will return a divider. So for every name we are gonna put a divider after that, so that the next name can be after a divider, then again a divider, then next name, then again a divider. So that like that we are using. So if I is odd, we will return a divider. Divider is basically a line that will separate two pieces of text, and then will generate an index that we can use to access this word pair array. Index is I. We will use the division operator. So every time we will divide the I by 2, it will return a float, right? Like 2 divided by 2, 1.000. So we're gonna use this operator which only returns the int value of it, not the float value of it. Like then again, if index is greater than equal to uh, suggestions array that we created, suggestions dot length, then what we are going to do is suggestions dot add all. It's going to add some new words to the array. Generate word pairs dot take, like we will generate new 10 words. If so, what really it is doing is we are creating a list. We are giving it a padding of for every item in the list we are giving it a padding of 16. Then we are building the items for from this index I is equal to 0. Then if I is odd, suppose the I is 0, then it isn't odd, so index is generated 0 divided by 2, that is equal to 0. So index 0 will be used here. So after that, let's build our item. So our list is built, so we just need to build our item now. So widget with return type of widget, because item is also like a list style, like a part of the list, so it's also a widget. Build item, then we'll give a parameter of word pair, then again we'll return a list style here which is for every item. So list style, so you're gonna use the list style here which will have a title. So every item will have a title, like go with text with we are using this parameter pair. So we are using this pair as a text. So pair dot as Pascal case we will use. What really is a Pascal case? So suppose a word is made using two different words. So the first letter of the first word will be capital letter, and the second first letter of the second word will be a capital letter. So that's a Pascal case. And then we will give it a style, text style. So style, then we define this style here, bigger font. So just give it a bigger font. So our list style is defined. So this will return a list style for every word that we give it as a parameter. So in the list we are after building the item, what we are going to do is we are going to return this item from the suggestions array. So we are going to return build build item. Then we are going to give a parameter of suggestions uh, of index. We are doing a mistake here, like item builder should have and here should yeah. So we are returning for suggestions of index, so it is empty now. Suggestions array is empty now initially. So in this statement, suppose give an index of 0 first. So index is greater than suggestions of length. So 0 is greater than equal to 0, which is so because suggestions array is empty now. So we will add 10 words to it. So, and after adding 10 words, we will access the 0th element of the suggestions array and give it to build item, and build item will simply return the list with a text which of suggestions of index as here pair.pascal case. So that's how we are returning. Put a semicolon there. That's how we are doing it. And inside the body now, the generation part is done now. Inside the body, you just need to give you this item builder function. So body will take we are not put app body is not should be here. Body should be outside app bar, because app bar is different and the screen body is different. So body and we're gonna return a build suggestions. So we don't have any problems in the code, as you can see in the problems tab. If you get any problems, you will be the problems will be listed here in the problems tab. And now we are building a so it's done now. Let's run it now. It's correct, and main dot dart, it's correct. So let's run now. It's gonna take some time. So we are creating a empty array first of suggestions that is gonna take a word pair, a list of word pairs. We're defining a font. You don't need to do this. You can do this here also using style is equal to text style, and then you can write it here. That would work too. And then after that, we are creating a function build item which will return a tile, basically a container type of thing that will contain the text. So yeah, as you go, here's our complete app that I built. It's gonna generate infinite number of startup names for you. It's basically random names, not basically startup names, but yeah, you can use it, right? uh, you can see, you can keep scrolling, it will keep generating it for you. It's like an infinite list of different random names. So yeah, that's for the app. We have used pubspec.yaml here, where you can use different packages. Yeah, different packages are there. Then test folder is there, where you can write different test cases for your app. Like widget test is already defined here, you can use integration test here. Then in the lib folder you have main.dart, random words.dart, that created an app for you. In order to get more organized at creating an app, you can just make another folder like screens. You can use another folder like widgets. Oh, yeah, like that. And here it's a lib folder. Then here iOS folder. Suppose you're making an app for the iOS, so you sometimes you have to take some permissions from the iOS device to access the internet, access your logs. So you have to write all those code here in case you want to access the logs of the mobile phone. You will get that in the documentation of the packages that are using. In the Android folder, you can configure the app for Android. uh, it's not really needed for basic app, but when you will be designing and developing production ready large scale apps, you will be needing these folders. So that's about this for this app. It's running good now. You can change the colors to, like, suppose I here I change this to color dot orange. So they are, after changing it, there are two buttons, one hot reload and hot restart. Hot restart, what it does is it's gonna restart the whole app for you and show you the changes, and and hot reload will just change the particular component that you changed. Like for orange, we are doing a hot reload here. Wait, changes. Let me save it first. I haven't saved it. Yeah. So you can see that it's orange now. You can keep scrolling, it will keep on generating random names for you. So that's it for this app. You can close this now. Hope you guys learned a lot about Flutter here. uh, you can simply go to docs, read more about it, build more apps. As you will keep developing more and more apps, you will get more experience in it, and you can the Flutter community is really good. People here are really good, so you can go really good about it and create some amazing apps. So that's it for the session now. We have created a beautiful app now. So if you guys have any questions, just type it in the chat box. I will try to answer all of them. Any questions, guys?
Guys, any questions? Please type it out in the chat box.
Yeah, if you have any questions, please type it out.
I guess no questions are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess no questions are there. So yes, thank you, Himanshu. That was a great
Yeah, my
session.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Himanshu. That was a great session. We'll
Yeah, my pleasure. Welcome.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
So with this, we come to the end of the pre-hackathon session. Tomorrow, the 4th of November, hackathon begins and we have an inauguration at 9 a.m.
So we request you all to join us. Have a good day, guys.
Diksha, your voice is not audible.
Yeah. So we have an meeting at 9 and we request you all to join the game. So have a great day, guys.
Sorry, but Diksha, your voice is not audible. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of the pre-hackathon session. Tomorrow, the 4th of November, hackathon begins. So all the best to all of you. And we have an inauguration at 9 a.m. I request you all to join the same. Have a great day, guys. See you all tomorrow during the inauguration. Bye. All the best for the hackathon. Thank you.